I have tried to make my family as comfortable as possible, both in the cold months as well as the hot summer months. So, today I want to share a few things that we have done in order to make our atmosphere and space a little bit more comfortable in there for our entire family while we wait for our farmhouse to get done. Hey, my name is Yami. I am your Latina next door. Welcome back to Mi Casa. The summer heat is still strong here in Tennessee, but up here on the mountain, we have noticed that the evening temperatures overnight have gotten down into the 50s already. So I thought it would be great to share with you all the little things that we've done to our cottage to kind of help us navigate through both hot months and cold winter months. Today's video is also in partnership with MR.COOL, and I'll share a little bit more on that in just a minute. As you all know, our farmhouse is well underway. However, we have been living on our property for over a year now, and at first we were living in this camper. And let me tell you, it was a little bit uncomfortable, especially when we found out we were expecting another baby. So, during one of our visits to our local Mennonite community, we found out that they built sheds that can be converted into homes. So, we decided to buy one to put on our property so that we can all fit a little bit more comfortably while we wait for our house to get started. Now, this eventually will be my YouTube studio, but for now, we have been living in it. And even though it is a lot more space than our camper, oh boy, it does come with its own challenges. As you can see, it's just one very simple building, and there is absolutely no protection from any of the elements on our property because it used to be pasture land where cows used to graze. So there are no trees, nothing of the sort to give us any protection from the elements. Now, this was a completely empty shell, and we had to do everything from scratch on the inside. Now, our baby was on our way, and we had to get in there as quickly as possible to take care of things. And one of the things that we did in the very beginning when we first bought this, we realized we needed some outdoor space that was kind of protected from the elements, and it helped us work a little bit better when we were finishing out the inside. We get some pretty tough rain as well as some harsh sun. And since it's just a simple structure, we thought that by adding a front porch that was also covered would help us a lot, not only in protecting the actual structure, like the windows and the door, but also protecting us and our projects that we would be working on while finishing out the interior of the space. Not only does it act as a functional, piece, but it also makes the little shed look more like a home and not just a simple structure. And it's been very useful for us as far as shade, as far as shelter, and we really think that this was almost a necessity, and we're glad we did this early on. And as you can see here, my kids were playing with some toys while we were working inside of the cottage, trying to get it finished out. And we even had power tools out and stuff. So it's been some nice square footage to add on to the cottage. Now, the sun actually rises on the front of the cottage, but it sets on the back. And we had one door with this one window on it because we needed some natural light. However, we needed to protect it also from the harsh sun as well as the rain. So we decided to add this cute little covered portico over the door as well as a deck on the bottom. And we just love how this protects the door and gives us that necessary shade during those harsh summer days, but then it also protects the door from those really strong storms that we have had. And it also has paid off having this little area in the back protecting our window and our door. Now, before the walls went up and anything was done inside, Nelson needed to insulate the walls in order to protect the atmosphere indoors. So he added spray foam himself and he did the ceiling as well as the walls. Now you can see him here adding extra bracing between these 2x4s because here is where we're going to be putting our Mr. Cool system, which was another very important element. We needed a way to change the temperature inside, and we needed air conditioning as well as heat over the winter. And he wanted to make sure that everything was nice and secure for the unit that we ended up going with. Now, Mr. Cool is a manufacturer of many kinds of HVAC options for your home or any type of need. They have anything from large HVAC systems to the small DIY Douglas mini split system that we used for our cottage. Now, we decided to go with this because this is perfect for DIYers. It has a lot of benefits, including a great warranty. Now, you can configure your own mini split depending on exactly what you need for your space, but we only needed one zone for ours. Now, they mean it when they say it is super easy to install and they provide everything that you need in order to do so, even if you are a beginner.
So this is a DIY mini split. So this is kind of so it's a all-in-one unit. It has a condenser that goes outside. So this is a two-part deal. This is like a unit, the inside portion that blows and has a controller and all the smart stuff. And on the outside is the actual tower condensing unit. But what's wonderful about this thing, it's a DIY kit. So it's, you don't have to hire an HVAC tech to come out and install this. It basically comes with a bracket, a template. We put backing against the wall to, make sure we have enough bracing for this. And you take the template, you put it against the wall, mark all the points that you're gonna brace it against the wall. Put the little neat bracket, and you pop it in. I don't know a whole lot about this stuff, but we're about to see how simple it is.
So one of the reasons we also went with this type of system, we thought it would be the best for our situation, is because not only does it cool, but it will also heat. So it's smarter than your average window unit. Obviously, it's a little bit more complex, and it will serve so many more purposes for us in different climate, especially when it starts turning into the cooler fall months up here.
All right, so the other thing that I want to point out about this is a ductless unit. So you don't have to run ducts throughout the space to be able to heat or cool it. This is a ductless system. This would actually be pretty cool if you have like a little small shop or even garage.
And real quick, they absolutely think of everything when sending you these kits. And they even sent us one of these, what's these called, babe?
Hole saw.
Hole saw. There you go. That way it's a lot easier for us to do the hole for the ductwork, correct?
Correct.
I'm learning.
After Nelson made his marks on the wall using the template, it was time to pre-drill the holes and then attach the template onto the wall. First, Nelson drilled the hole through the interior wall and then, of course, the exterior wall.
All right, so the unit clipped on to the bracket and we're done on the inside. I don't know how good this video is gonna age. Go dogs. Three-peat. So I know this has nothing to do with that, but it's that time of year. So this is the other side of the wall. You see the copper lines, water line, the electrical. And then we're just gonna turn that down and set the outdoor unit. So this is a pre-poured concrete pad that you can get at your local hardware store. So we chose to set it on top of this. This is the disconnect, the local disconnect that we have. That way, we can disconnect power to the unit. And here is the little tower. So we're gonna open this box up, set it on here, wire it up, and then we'll be good to go.
is going to be below this area, so Nelson has to bend the pipe slowly and carefully so not to damage it.
So the kit comes with pre-charged lines, and it's coiled up, and all you do is unroll it slowly. And we're going to connect it to the indoor unit, and then we connect it to the outdoor unit.
You want to remove the little caps that come on the ends of the pipes, and then you want to screw them on together with your hands, and then you want to tighten them a little bit more. The little top panel right here is where you feed the power, and then on the bottom you connect the pipes. Now when you're trying to unravel and change the directions of any of these pipes, just make sure you do it very carefully so that you don't damage them.
So we got our power lines hooked in. This is from the unit on the inside. This cable is to the power. So you get your electrician to hook up the connection. Luckily, the LE is the electrician, so we got that hooked up. And then we hooked up our HVAC lines, the 2 copper lines. And after you hook that up, you open this up. There's 2 little valves, and you use the little T-handle wrench that comes with the kit, and you open them up, and what that does is it charges the lines and you're ready to go.
You can hear it.
And you turn it all the way until it stops. Don't force anything. Both lines are open. We're gonna go inside, test the unit. Once it turns on, we'll button everything up and we'll be good to go.
We turned the breaker on and it worked. Now the last thing we did after we knew that everything was working properly is cover the actual pipes that go along the exterior of the wall. MR.COOL does have this option where you can get these so that your exterior area looks a lot nicer than just having pipes exposed. Plus, this also protects them from the elements. The system comes with a remote, and it is really easy to adjust the temperature up or down. Now, if it's particularly hot, you can always add the turbo option and it will blow a lot more air. Turning it off is super easy, as well as turning it back on. And of course, you have the option of changing the mode to heat, to fan, to auto, to cool, and it's super easy just with the control of the button. We are super happy with this unit. We're grateful that we can use it in all 4 seasons up here again while we wait for our farmhouse to be built. And if you want any information, we'll have all of the links in the description box below. Now, while this is not necessary, we did also add a ceiling fan to the space as well in order to better circulate the air throughout the whole cottage. There's 6 of us in here, and things can get a little stuffy sometimes. So having the option of both the wall unit and a fan in order to push air around really does help. And I was pretty particular with the style of fan that I was going to put up here. I particularly like this style, and I also love that it is powered by a remote. So you can change the settings up really easily, and you don't have any chains hanging down. Now, this is not the only adjustment that I made in order to make our lives a little bit more comfortable here in the cottage. After being here for a little bit, you kind of get to experience the changes in weather and the heat and the sun. And so I decided to do a little bit more in order to make our space a little bit more comfortable. Now, the window that I'm prepping here is the window to our front door. And as you can see, both the front door and the back door that I shared earlier have windows on them. Now, we did this on purpose because we wanted more light to go into the cottage. However, this does pose a little bit of a privacy issue. As you can see here, you can see our chandelier inside of our cottage, but it also adds a lot more bright sunlight indoors. And the sunlight on the front porch doesn't last too long because our roof on the front porch actually helps protect us, but the back door can be a little bit more sunny and hot because it has that small little portico over the door. So what I decided to do was add some tint film on this, just like you do your cars. You can totally do this for your windows and your doors at home. That way you add a level of privacy as well as a level of protection from the sun and just dimming of the light, and it changes the temperature so much just by doing this. So what I was spraying was a soapy mixture, just soap and water, and you're supposed to apply that all over the window after you've cleaned it thoroughly. And this is going to help the tint adhere to the window. And then what you do is after you apply it, you take a squeegee and you just remove as many bubbles as you can, working your way out in order to seal the tint. And I will admit this was not the easiest thing, especially since I like to be a perfectionist, but it definitely pays off. You will see a difference in the temperature coming in through the window, as well as the brightness. And with one roll, I was able to do both doors. I'll have the tint that I use in my description box below. Now, for the actual windows in the cottage, I added a couple of curtains, just simple panes that would give us privacy and, of course, block a little bit of the sun. The good thing is that these particular windows are in the front, and the porch does help with the sun coming in. That front porch roof really does block out the sun, and this was pretty much all we needed for here. For these, I kept them simple and just use a tension curtain rod to go inside of the frame of the windows. And of course, if I would have had my sewing machine and it wasn't in storage, I would have probably sewed these up myself. But I did find these online and I can link them as well. Now, there's something else that we definitely notice after living here for a little bit and living throughout a little bit of the colder months. As you can see here, Nelson and my dad are in the yard, but if you look at the cottage, you'll see that it is on blocks. Well, this is one of the reasons why Nelson doesn't like crawl spaces. It definitely affects the temperature of the floor. And of course, we didn't do heated floors in the cottage, so we needed a way to make the floor a little bit warmer and retain the heat. So we added skirting around the entire bottom of the cottage in order to close that gap between the cottage and the ground. We enclosed both the porch area as well as the entire cottage, and we are so glad we did because this made a huge difference in the colder months. And along with that came our final adjustment. See, our kids sleep on these little foldable mattresses on the floor in the cottage because honestly, we just don't have a lot of space and we need to fold them and put them away on the daily so that we have walking space. And even though we put the skirting down on the bottom of the cottage, the floor still gets a little bit cooler than the rest of the cottage. So we wanted to make sure that they were as warm as possible. And I decided to purchase some heating blankets. And let me tell you something, they were the best thing I did. It really does help a lot. And I found this one online. I'll link to them below. And basically, we put the mattresses down and the heating blankets on top of the mattresses. So the heat is actually underneath them and it protects them from any kind of coolness that they may feel from the ground underneath. And it has been just a game changer. These are super plush, super soft. They come in so many different colors, and you can adjust the heat. And after a certain amount of time, it will shut off by itself. And you can unplug it and plug it back in order to wash them. So this has definitely made their quality of life even better. Of course, when we moved up here to the homestead, we had no idea what life would entail, what the seasons would bring, and what the weather would be like. And it's been an adventure for sure. And we're happy we've made all these adjustments and we've gotten even more knowledgeable about what we need up here so that when we did start our build, we'd know exactly what to do. We've learned a lot so far, and of course, our biggest priority is to make our family comfortable and happy while we wait to move in to our new house. So, I hope this was useful and you got some ideas as to what you can do in your home as well. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you think there's a few other things that we can do to help us out here to make this little cottage area even more cozy and comfortable for us, whether it's in the summer or in the winter months. Thank you to Mr. Cool for partnering with us on this video. I will leave the information for the unit that we actually have in this cottage in the description box below so you can check it out. And I hope to see you back here very soon. We have more updates on our farmhouse. Until then, adios.